Hey everybody, this is Dana coming at you. Today is October 30th and I am here to bring you the biggest news stories that you haven't heard in the last 2 weeks. Trying to get this done in under 7 minutes, so let's get started. The FDA has announced mix and match boosters, meaning that if you got, let's say, a Johnson & Johnson originally, you can go ahead and get a Pfizer booster now. Because science. China tested 2 hypersonic missiles, the likes of which our own military agreed that we don't have yet. China, of course, said that they weren't hypersonic missiles. They were quote-unquote space vehicles. Listen for the space theme. Seattle police and fire discharged 20 to 30% of their police, fire, and EMTs because they did not go for the mandatory you-know-whats. Jen Psaki is mocking the backlog of ports, seemingly unaware that it is affecting everyday Americans. Biden had a disastrous town hall where he did the I am Cornholio pose and just absolutely got ripped apart by right and left media alike. Thank God they had a little bit of integrity in that one. Dr. Levine has been crowned, dare I say crowned, the first 4-star female general in the health department. So there's that. OSHA has decided, OSHA used to have a policy where if there were mandated vaccines, such as healthcare workers that had to get a flu shot, if those healthcare workers had an adverse event, OSHA had to keep records of those things. So the government has now come out and said, it's a pandemic, don't worry about it. By the way, you have to get this one that's not even FDA approved and it's only approved for emergency use. But we won't talk about that either because Baldwin. OSHA went ahead and said, don't even worry about recording those adverse events anymore. So great. Thousands of employees across multiple sectors of commerce have been walking off the job. There has been giant protests in New York City. There have been protests, literally MAGA and Black Lives Matter coming together to protest the NBA player who wasn't allowed to play in New York because he refused the mandatory you-know-what. This is where the far right and the far left has finally gone far enough around that they are meeting each other here. Interesting time in our society. Additionally to that, the NIH has finally come out and admitted that they did in fact fund gain of research experiments in Wuhan, China, which makes the official time between a conspiracy theory and an actual fact about 22 months or less. So stay tuned for more things that'll be coming true that we were banned for saying a couple months ago. I don't know. Weird times, right? The FDA has now unanimously approved the mandatory you-know-what for 5 to 11-year-olds. That means in states like California it will be required before children are allowed to go back to school. This is terrible. Oh, God. Hazard High School, what's going on with you guys over there? Your mayor and your principal was allowing a student-led assembly to progress to the point where high school girls came out dressed in Hooters uniforms, high school boys came out scantily clad and were giving lap dances, grinding on staff, and apparently this principal of Hazard, who also happens to be the mayor, who also happens to be getting sued for the fact that a rape occurred in 2019 while he was supposed to be chaperoning a school trip. So like this guy has really got something else going on. Additionally, we have in a different school a first to second grade field trip to a gay bar, because why not? Attorney General Merrick Garland finally admits that the designation of concerned parents as domestic terrorists was based on simply some news stories in a letter by the National School Board Union. But they're not in the pockets. The unions aren't in the pockets of the controlling elite. Facebook is changing its name to Meta, and if you notice that the new symbol is this like kind of dysfunctional infinity symbol, it's actually a warped Ouroboros. I can't say it or spell it. It's meant to symbolize a snake eating itself, and all of this is meant to symbolize to them that we are, as a society, deciding to kind of like cut ourselves off from the real world and instead join a virtual reality world where we are all going to essentially live forever. But what's happening is just like the Ouroboros, the snake that is eating itself alive, society is deciding to go ahead and be a part of this and like volunteering their times and their lives and their information, and all of this is just making my head spin. The fact that they're announcing it right around this time is blowing my mind, but we'll move on to the next thing. Multiple examples of the slippery slope of the transgender movement. And what I mean by that is that there have been a number of like TikToks and YouTube videos coming out where people are saying that their gender is that of a demon, or a mushroom is the other one that I heard. Look, I understand the plight of transgender people and generally support things like gay marriage and other, social issues. But if you think you're a demon or a mushroom, I think that's where we have to draw the line. Or if you call yourself a woman, but you wag your peckerwood around at young girls at a spa, like, I just don't think that you're legitimate, okay? The first transgender homecoming queen has been crowned at a high school, not local to me, thankfully. What this all has gone to prove in the last couple of weeks is that the patriarchy is so crafty now that even men are better at being women than women are. And they're getting the credit for being the first women, whatever. Homecoming queen. 4-star female admiral or general. Okay, when does it end? Are you a mushroom? Are you going to be the first 4-star mushroom in 20 years? Are we going to be seeing this woman up on a podium? Jeez, do not get me started. And then finally, an X-class flare on the sun has emitted a CME that is predicted by NASA to reach us at midnight on Halloween. Now, if you'd like me to do more expanded videos on the occult and symbology behind that date, behind NASA choosing midnight on 10/31/21, there's a lot to break down there, but I'm trying to keep this under 7 minutes. So it's 6 minutes and 24, 25, 26 seconds. I'm going to ask you, if you made it this far, please hit the thumbs up video, subscribe below, because I'm going to have more videos coming. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Happy Halloween. You might want to make sure your phones are charged, but don't be surprised if you don't get good service tomorrow, because this CMA could potentially hit in late afternoon, early evening, according to some models. NASA thinks it's coming at midnight. NASA, Operation Paperclip. Look it up. Thank you guys so much for your time. This is Dana. Peace out.